From the beginning, the rich history of mankind has been intertwined with vast wilderness and a staggering array of wildlife species that also call this planet home. Since long before recorded history, struggles for survival have played out in an ongoing tapestry across the world's great stages. And as the planet's foremost caretakers, humans have had a profound influence on those struggles. Through the ages, across ethnic and geopolitical borders, hunting has remained a central and valuable tool for the management and conservation of the world's wildlife. Hunters have always had an instinctual connection to nature and wildlife, and this close bond remains stronger than ever today. Here then is a story about hunters, past and present. Nearly a half-century ago, a group of dedicated and visionary hunters established one of the greatest hunting organizations the world has ever known, Safari Club International. As an extension of SCI's core values in promoting sustainable conservation, Safari Club International Foundation was formed, and over the course of years, its groundbreaking work in wildlife conservation, outdoor education, and humanitarian service have set a new standard for the 21st century. SCI Foundation's track record of achievements is, quite simply, unsurpassed and speaks for itself. By providing the best available science to key decision-makers, SCI Foundation has helped to shape international policies that champion the principles of sustainable use in wildlife management. SCI Foundation is in a constantly evolving partnership with multiple organizations, volunteers, and governments, and its conservation efforts are now being recognized around the globe. Additionally, its well-known and ambitious educational programs have influenced thousands of teachers and outdoor experts, helping to pass on our outdoor heritage to the next generation. And its humanitarian efforts have delivered aid and urgently needed supplies, both in the world's most remote areas and right here at home. Begun as a grassroots effort, funded and managed by the caring hunters of SCI, the Foundation, over the past half-century, has grown to become a dynamic, far-reaching global force. Caring hunters, wildlife conservationists, outdoor educators, this is your Safari Club International Foundation. And this is what today's hunters are doing around the world. Hunters, speaking with a unified voice and rising to meet the most daunting and important wildlife challenges we have ever faced. It's known as the North American model of wildlife conservation, started by caring hunters in the late 1800s and further articulated by legendary visionaries of the early 20th century. A basic principle of this model is that wildlife resources are held in the public trust, and as such should be managed to consistently maintain optimum populations now and sustain them into the future. In the North American model, revenues generated through hunting licenses and game fees are allocated via government agencies to conserve and manage wildlife species and their habitats. The model has been proven to work, and its effects on animal populations over the past 100 years have been profound. How did these animal populations make such a comeback? Quite simply, it was ethical hunter conservationists who made all the difference. Since its formation, the Safari Club International Foundation has been at the very epicenter of wildlife conservation efforts around the world. In the last 15 years alone, the Foundation, established and led by forward-thinking American hunters, has spent well over $60 million to conserve and protect the world's wildlife. SCI Foundation has funded and directed more conservation programs, science-backed initiatives, and volunteer member programs than any other non-profit organization, making it an undisputed global leader in the ongoing battle to help sustain the world's most precious animal species through sound, science-based conservation programs. From the Americas to Europe, Africa, Asia, and beyond, it's hunters and hunter dollars that are leading the charge, identifying, shaping, and funding ongoing efforts and opportunities to manage, measure, enhance, and sustain wildlife populations around the globe. In just the past 8 years, SCIF has invested more than $3 million in North American conservation projects. Its on-the-ground programs have included nearly every big game animal, 21 species and counting, across 16 US states, 4 Canadian provinces, and even Mexico. Work here has been predominantly focused on predator-prey dynamics, species and habitat enhancement, wildlife disease study, and fostering local and regional efforts that promote sustainable use wildlife management. Some of the Foundation's most ambitious and visible programs are currently underway on the African continent. In recent years, conservation projects here have invested more than $3.5 million across 14 different countries to help save some of the planet's most treasured and revered animals, some of which are now under threat of extinction with recent surges in poaching activity, as well as ongoing human-wildlife conflict. Working in concert with key partners and local stakeholders, the Foundation's African programs have included wildlife population and genetic studies, robust anti-poaching initiatives, and community-based conservation efforts. Started in 2001, the annual African Wildlife Consultative Forum has become the Foundation's signature program in Africa, presenting the best available science on various game species to multiple African governments. Known and respected throughout Africa, the AWCF plays an instrumental role in forming and directing wildlife policies and management decisions. It has also been a key difference maker in fostering regional cooperation and community-based programs. Being engaged and alert at local levels has helped the Foundation remain at the forefront of the world's most important wildlife conservation initiatives. In just the past few years, the Foundation has allocated more than $1 million to conservation projects in Asia and the Pacific Rim, specifically focused on more than 10 key species in 5 countries. Ongoing efforts here have included endangered species conservation, population surveys, predator species research, and assisting with applied wildlife management projects throughout Central Asia. With the continued support of members and generous program donors, the Foundation has ambitious plans to continue expanding its work in this part of the world as resources allow. Through the dedicated efforts and support of caring hunters and wildlife enthusiasts, the Safari Club International Foundation is changing the world, making unprecedented strides, boldly fulfilling its missions, leading and showing the world how hunters and hunting will be defined in the 21st century. Through the Foundation's landmark efforts and achievements, the story of today's hunter is being written each and every day, and it's a story that we should all hope continues as future generations inherit this great legacy. It all began long ago, with vision, hard work, and a passion for sustaining the world's most precious treasures. Safari Club International Foundation, your foundation, organized and managed by caring, ethical hunters around the world. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Today, for the benefit of our world and our hunting heritage.